Ooh, this is too much for me. Ooh. Okay, let's try. Tone this down a little bit. Okay, got my hair sticking out on one side. I got this wrapped up on my head. Oh, how y'all doing this evening? This Sunday evening. Tomorrow is Monday. I start my new job tomorrow, everyone. And believe me, I got to get myself mentally ready because I've been home for the last couple of weeks, and then all this stuff going on about politics have been really, really keeping me busy. And it's important. And I was just talking to my sister, and we were talking about some of this stuff here. And I told my sister like this because I've been doing things on Facebook as well with my family and with those who are close to me and know me for many, 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 many years. Not too many people I let on my Facebook page. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. I don't let too many people on my personal Facebook page anyway. I call it personal, even though they probably get in there anyway and see some things that I post. I had to make my Facebook page kind of like private. So anyway, y'all, I want to have this discussion with you. And I don't know if I'm going to ever come back and have any more talks about this political stuff, but it was important that I'm glad God gave me this. Oh, God, I'm glad God was able to introduce new things to me and show me new things while I'm here on earth, and especially about my votes. My votes. I mean, for me, this election is not that hard for me because I really already have my mind made up that for me, this is more about Jesus than it is about any man or any woman. It's more about how I'm going to use my good judgment and not my flesh, like it's something new for me to try to help somebody out there who's undecided about who they should rock with in this election. Either you want to go with the Republicans, the Democrats, Trump, or you want to go with over on the other side with the Democrats. I mean, with Kamala, whatever her name is. So, hey Frankie, how you doing? So, for me not to be fooled like I was in 2000, what year was that? Excuse me, 2008, when I cast my vote and I did not do my research and did not see who I was voting for. I already knew who I already had, at the time that, Obama was running for his presidency. I knew nothing about Obama, nothing. All I saw was flesh. And I was a younger woman at the time. All I saw was the flesh. All I saw was a man that seemed like he was like out down for the people. You know what I'm saying? There for one of us. And me and my sister, as we were talking, she says, I think a lot of people felt the same way that you feel. I felt the same way too. We didn't do our research. We just felt, hey, we got to exercise our vote with Democrats. So, hey, let's go with the two evils. And plus, I think it was online at the time. I think I used to be online at the time with TV One. And I really didn't engage too much with the conversation of what some of the other people were saying. I just was just out there. They was just like, oh, we got to go with Obama because Obama, the prices was killing them over there in Georgia. People were talking about ever since 9/11, and a lot of people lost a lot of businesses, went under. We were really, the market was suffering. All right. The real estate market was suffering after 9/11 or whatever. And a lot of people were really looking for what would be best for the people, at the time, because Bush was, of course, president at the time. And a lot of people wasn't happy under the George Bush. administration either. He was the Republican. We haven't had a Republican in office since I don't think we had a Republican since that time. And it didn't really bother me because you know what? I was in my corporate world, so I was doing pretty well. I was doing pretty well. I mean, I was making ends meet and I was working and had a great income and it was enough. I wasn't suffering like I'm suffering now with the living expenses it is today. But I was making it and believe it or not, I was by myself. I was a single woman by myself living in New York City, paying my rent, paying my light bill, paying my cable bill, putting food on my table. Also, what else was going on in my life? I just know I was doing good. I was living alone as a single black woman, and I was doing pretty good. I was still at that time I wasn't really into dating too much. I was more into um the Lord. Put it that way. I was into the Lord then. I was by myself. I was fine. I was fine. Had my own place, my own apartment. Um, I'll do that later. But anyway, had my own apartment. I was keeping my lights on. Like I said, I was doing fine. I ain't have a care in the world because I was working and I was okay. I had great insurance, medical insurance. I had life insurance. I had it going on. Well, anyway, it didn't really affect me in that way. Maybe because I was so involved in the church. I was paying tithes. I was giving offerings. I was involved doing things at the church. I was just doing wonderful, you know. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, now that I'm getting older, I got to see who's going to be running this country. Who's going to be put it this way, who is going to be in lead of protecting our country, protecting the lives of the people in our nation? Who's going to be our leader? We already seen the messiness we've been in and how everybody in the world is basically laughing at us. And America basically is where all the wealth is. It's like in other countries and everything, yeah, they seem like they probably doing pretty well and they're wealthy and the people are governed very well. They're treated very well by their government and they rulers or whoever's over in their country. But then you notice that some of the leadership there is cruel to the people. They're very wicked to the people over there. That's why they're running out of their country to become citizens over here or becoming illegal citizens or whatever. But not all of them now, because some of them that's coming over here is because a lot of these places are just emptying out their prisons, the dregs of their prisons and their jails, and what they send into America is people that are more wicked than our criminals. They are more wicked than the criminals that we have over here in the United States. Okay. When it comes to wickedness, these people can't even be what you will call, you know, our prison system here. These people can't be reformed. They just gone. Because that's all they know. That's all they see. That's all they know how to survive. They got to chop somebody's head off. They got to work under they gangs or whatever like that. It's totally different from the American, jails, and totally different from the criminal system that it is in America. It's a totally different way of life. It's totally different. And that's just what they know. you know, and they coming over here. Not, how are you, Cisco Country Life? How are you? How have you been? I haven't seen you here in a minute. You know what, y'all? I'm squinting, squinting, squinting. Frankie, take care of this while I'm gotta go get me some glasses. I gotta go get my glasses. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hi, y'all. I'm back. Let me put these glasses on. Yeah, so I need to clean them up. Yeah, so we have a totally different type of way. And those of you who think so far to the left, like this woman, Kamala, and if you ain't got Christ in your life, that's better. If you ain't got Christ in your life, you're just gonna perish. You're just gonna fall to the waist. Not fall to the wayside. You fools will perish because of lack of knowledge. You got to be careful what you ask for, and that's why it's important that you get to know who is leading you, who is going to be the leader over your government, who's going to be the leader of your country. This is why it's up to the people to choose what's best for them. Is Kamala going to be able to help? Be the lead of our military? Actually, the lead of the military. Now, somebody came at me and said, "Well, that's not true." And they said this. They were nice. They read the Bible just like I read the Bible, and this is what they feel that Deborah, who was the judge, because remember the people. If you go in the Book of Judges, and that's why it's the Book of Judges, because the people was out of control. It was just all kind of crazy stuff going on then, just like it is now. The world was in all chaos. It was no boundaries with people back then. So what happens is that, let's go into the Book of Judges. Should I use my phone, or should I use? Let me go get my. I'm gonna go get my tablet. It's better because my phone might ring, and I'll be right back. Frankie, look out for me. I gotta be a little quiet here because my husband is like, oh, you know. But anyway, y'all, we're gonna go into the Book of Judges, and I just wanted to have this conversation with you because I know somebody came in, and I really appreciate your comment. I appreciate your comments because this is how we get to study and build on a better understanding with each other. Okay, I gotta go to the Book of Judges. Let's find out about Deborah. First, let's find out what was going on at the time. And of course, this is after the death of Joshua, right? And we're going to go into Deborah the judge. The best way I can find it, I have to do this. I'm sorry, y'all. Bear with me so I can help people out with this. Judge Deborah. First, we're going to go here. We're going to find out when she 80. You always got to have something here to study with. All right, here's Deborah. She was an uncommon leader. Deborah, I'm reading from this woman's book here, and then we're going to go to she's in the Book of Judges, and you will find her in the Book of Judges, and you would have to go from chapter 4 to 3, verse 2 to 3. Okay. It says, Deborah, a strong, courageous leader, served as a great example for women of color today. Like many women, Deborah lived during a time when there was much unrest in her nation. Okay, Deborah served as a judge and a prophetess. Is Kamala a prophetess? Kamala has this woman, Kamala has to me no spirituality. She has no spirituality. She has no connection to God because with God, there are boundaries. Now let's move on. Okay. Deborah served as a judge and prophetess during Israel. And you've seen how she treated that prime minister that came from Israel, um, Benjamin Netanyahu. I can't pronounce this. God, charge it to my head and not my heart. I'm just really not good at pronouncing names that are foreign to me very well. Okay. And it says Deborah served as a judge and prophetess during Israel bondage under Jabin, a king of Canaan, who resided in Hazar, Caesarea. The captain of Jabin's army was renowned for having 900 iron chariots. He was also known for his oppression of the Israelites. Deborah's name means bee, which is very appropriate. She gathered the people to her as honey, but her sting was most fatal to her enemies. She was a godly woman who wore many hats, that of prophet, poet, encourager, warrior, wife, and ruler. God chose Deborah to minister justice and to lead his people out of bondage into peace. Do you feel this woman is leading? Do your spirit feel connected like that with your girl Kamala? I don't feel connected like that with her. I don't know about how you feel with her, but I don't feel she bringing me any peace, and I don't feel she got any wisdom. Okay, like Deborah, this woman of God does, And even if Deborah was ruling and everything at the time, she had a husband. I don't even. Well, I know Kamala, but she's into all kind of weird, you know. To me, Jezebel. Her spirit is more Jezebel, And I'm not that type of woman. You see what I'm saying? Deborah had peace in her heart. She was a woman of kindness and a woman of encouraging things. But what's her name is cunning. She's manipulative. Look how she even got in to be a VP, and she had one job, a SAR, czar border, whatever that is supposed to be protecting our borders, looking at our borders to make sure people weren't how many immigrants or whatever, and get the number, whatever people that was the immigrants that was in our borders. Not that she had to be there every day watching the borders, but that was her job. Just like me and you, we go to work, whatever jobs we're on, we have to make sure we report there like we're supposed to every day. She was supposed to stay on track of what was going on with our borders and report into our leader, which is her boss, the president, Joe Biden. Okay. Enemy. She was God. God chose Deborah to minister justice and to lead his people out of bondage into peace. Deborah was one of several women distinguishing in scripture by her ability to discern the purpose of God. When God spoke to her, she took action. Was God, do you feel like God, is Kamala having a conversation with God or man? This woman she performed same sex marriages, and we know God is against that. God union is between a man and a woman, and he said that hold on, y'all, hold on. Hello? Hold on, y'all. Thank you. Thank you all for still being here with me. Like I was saying, this woman had one job what to do. She, you got to have spiritual wisdom. You have to have spiritual discernment. And if you're not connecting yourself with God, He cannot teach, He cannot show you these things. And then on top of that, even when you're a Christian, you got to search the scriptures. You have to go to read your word every day, because if you don't, you'll easily get caught out there and follow the things out there in the world and being controlled by something else out there in the world. And this is what I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to help somebody out. Okay, this is why I'm having this conversation. Even some pastors that will lead you to hell. There's some pastors like today. I was listening to Bishop Wooden on That's where I go get my spirit fed, get my souls fed, because give me the Bible, give me the word, give me the scripture. I go home, I study it. I'll study it, and I ask God to direct my heart, not man, but at least if He's giving me the word, there's nothing wrong with going to see it and check it out and find out the truth for yourself. And of course, you're going to have to go through some things to understand that. You see, so anyway, God directed Deborah to speak to one who could deliver the Israelites from the enemies. Deborah sent for Barak. Barak, okay, the son of Abinadab, and related the instructions God had for him and the promise of victory if he obeyed. Barak replied that he would lead their army to war only if Deborah would go with him. If she would not go, he will not go. Deborah agreed to go, but she informed Barak that the victory would now be credited to a woman. It all happened as Deborah said. God delivered Sisera into the hands of Jael, who killed him with a tent peg. And God rescued the Israelites from their foes because of Deborah's obedience and willingness to act. She is remembered today for her leadership and courage. Amen. So that's what I wanted to bring out to you. See, Deborah had a connection to God. And the way she was able to lead this army, she had to put a man in the battlefield to do it. But it also took her wisdom from God to get the man to fight the battle. She didn't go out there and fight the battle. It had to be a man. And that's why I'm saying, how could Kamala lead this battle in this fight and be in the leadership of our nation? Because you see the mess she already made before she got in there. She was part of the mess that we got right now. She was already with Biden in this battle that we're having right now. And Biden picked her. She called him out as a racist. She called him all kind of evil things. And then he picks her. You know how you destroy your enemies, and I'm gonna tell you in the fight, like men, and Biden doesn't have any. I don't know if he have any faith or anything. I ain't feel that way all this time since he been president. I feel all the gay people are they just coming more and more powerful out here. They just getting out. You see what they just did at the Olympics? And it started first with Barack Obama. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. Because it's not y'all. Some of y'all might get it. I can't say y'all, but some of y'all don't get what I'm saying here. So I have to feel that you have some connection to God in order for me to follow you. If you ain't got that connection with God, I can't follow you. And it's sad that, not sad, but I'm able to follow more Trump. But I'm not actually following Trump. I'm following Christ. Because he's actually leading my spirit in this battle, the spiritual warfare that we about to see come into the flesh. That's what, because Trump, he has discerned some kind of discernment, because sometimes, Trump is getting to be an older man, but he did make a wise pick for his next soldier, his soldier to watch. And everybody is like, oh, he's getting, this is their strategy they're going to try to use on Trump. See, he has to stay looking at the economy and our military and how he's going. But he can't do nothing with the military right now until he's the president. You understand? And Trump, yesterday, when I was listening to when I watched his rally before he came out and the people were gathering and everything else like that, and they was in in that place of the arena, wherever they were, before he started to come out to talk, other people came out to speak. And then first, J.D. Vance came out with his wife, and he said he spoke on Kamala. So Trump was probably getting himself all prepared and ready and prayed up. And then when they got out, before everything started, women came out to praying women, to open up prayer. And then we went to the scriptures. Somebody read the scriptures. There was prayer. There was scriptures read. There was everything that has to do with the love of your God and also the love for your nation. All of that was in. He had. I'm watching it from television. I'm watching this on TV, and I could feel the energy and the spirit. And nothing but the spirit of the Holy Spirit was moving me. Okay? I never been I wasn't there, but I could feel the energy from watching it on TV. Me and my husband both. I didn't see Kamala. I haven't been to none of her, the DNC don't start until like sometime in August, maybe the August 7th or something like that. And I'll be at work. So I'll be, probably, and I'll be too tired I'll be probably too tired to stay up, watching any of the DNC speeches and everything. And I think that's the way God planned it to be. There was a reason for that. And like I said, I'm not following men. I'm following Christ. So that's why I say, in order for you to understand this stuff, you got to take racism out your heart. You got to take anything ugly, anything cruel, or anything against any other person because of the color of their skin. And as far as for the LGBTQ, way left with them. See, the right hand stands with Christ. The left hand stands with Satan. And everything in the policies for our government is weighing on this side, on the right hand. Is weighing in the right hand for me. Everything that I'm against, everything I don't like for what's going on in our government and what the government over this side, the left side, stands for, I can't follow that. And all it's going to do is put me in battle with myself every day, and there's no peace. It's going to be nothing but chaos. It has been chaos with me for the last 4 years. Since that Biden administration been in position, how many jobs that I had, and I've been in battles, fighting, arguing, mad at somebody on the job, come in, and I just feel like I'm under attack every time I came to work. I just left a job that I just started in November. And here I am on a new job again in August. I mean, you could say August. You figure it out. When George Bush's and the Republicans, I believe, it was the Democrats and the Republicans. But when Bush, I ain't feel all that chaos and craziness going on in my spirit. But when I, when I was, and gay people was always out here. You know what I'm saying? I worked with gay people. Didn't bother me because they kept their life private. They kept everything out of their bedroom. And they didn't bring their stuff all out in the open like this and attacking on people, even though it was out there, but it wasn't like it is now. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like it is now. I actually saw a video, and that bothers me when I see a man dressed up like a woman and he do something offensive to you, and then you saying something to them, and they ready to fight you like they a woman, knowing that they can overpower you. Men competing now in sports with women on the same team, genitals hanging out and everything. You seen the opening Olympics, and people's spirit is like, what? People being offended by this. They children are there. They children are watching. People coming in the library dressed as drag queens. You want your children around that stuff? Even though you know people out there, they have their lifestyle or whatever they do, but it shouldn't be put in everybody's face. Certain things should not be in the public of the people. Not everybody. You see, it's out of control. So on the left side, I can't go with their policies. I can't go with what they want me to do and what they want me to say and how they want me to say it. And what I can't deal with that. But with the right hand is mercy. You understand what I'm saying? Because you on the throne, you on the side with Christ. I had to get past the fact that Trump said some things and it offended us. But was it a lie or was it the truth? That's what you gotta look at. Because only thing gonna offend you is the truth. A lie, cover it up, make it sound good, make it feel good, ain't helping you. Ain't gonna want you to want to try to do better. Have some conversation with me in the chat? Not only does he say it, but he live it. He lives it. He's not just there talking. You don't have to vote for him because Trump, he won this election. He pulling everything on his side. Even the gay people that want to keep their life private, they gay, but they want to stay in the closet with it. They don't want it to be in the public. They don't want to parade around it, parade, the gay parade and all that other stuff. You see what I'm saying? People are evil out here. And he's trying to get some things in control here. People, oh, he ain't gonna tell. You don't want to look. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. The only thing going to change is the fact that you ain't gonna be able to do all that stuff in the public no more. You ain't gonna be able to do that stuff up and offend people anymore. You could do your thing, but you're gonna have to keep your thing to you. Okay? Over there with you, anything that's unclean and not godly and not right is just gonna have to stay there with you. You ain't gonna have to bring that dirt and filth around other people, especially around the innocent children. So you make a choice, because this side, the left hand side, is on a slippery slope, ready to just be cast into the burning lake, into the fire. While this side is just gonna come up. Because see, this is what Christ is doing. This is what, especially now that they offended him. And not saying that portrait, that painting by Da Vinci or by Michelangelo, whoever did the Last Supper painting with the white Jesus and all his white, disciples and Mary Magdalene and all that stuff. That's just the way he saw the story of Christ in the flesh. That's the way he saw it, because that's what identifies with him, the Christ that's in him. See, that's where people got to understand what that painting was all about. Is what the artist see. Is what the artist see, and what he's saying. But then, because of course he was a Europe, French or Greek. I don't know what was his nationality. I think it was more like he was Italian. So that was his way of seeing his Christ. They got some art out there. If you want the Last Supper with the black man, that's Jesus with the dreadlocks and put thorns on his head. Yeah, you can see him as that too. Because every all of us was created in God's own image. So if you want to see it in that way, you can see it in that way. But the whole thing that what we see is we see Christ, we see Christians, we see how it offended what we believe in our Christian faith. Because God made us all in his own image. It's not the picture. It's how they create, how the gay people, the drag queens and all of that, what they did to offend the Christian, Catholic, and our faith, and what they offended us in the sacredness of our communion, in our fellowship, and what we believe in. They wouldn't have never done that to the is a Muslim community, because that's what they would have went on that stage and they would have took every last one of them and beheaded them, killed them, cut their genitals off and put it right in their mouth, or did something cruel and brutal to them. But see, we don't operate like that as Christians, because vengeance says take no vengeance on no man's life. We got to hold back and we got to take it to the Lord, because he can handle it. And he's handling it now. I was listening to this Catholic priest that was kind of offended by it, and he was talking about it at his church today, at Mass today. And he said, well, they want us to call them the so-and-so, because one man, the one who organized it, he had no knowledge of the people that was outraged about it, the Christian community, the Catholic community, all the religious communities or whatever that was offended by this stuff, that are in the Christian and the Catholic or whatever faith. And I was listening to it. I said, oh no, they know. They knew what they were doing. Don't call them, because they're going to try you to compromise with them. And we're not compromising with them. And if you're a real believer in Christ, we don't compromise with the devil. You take no fellowship with them. You take no part whatsoever, because you saw it for what it is. We don't have to call them, and all those people, y'all go ahead and call. But I'm not going to do no calling. I'm not going to sell out Christ like that. You know, try to give money to some organization and all that other stuff. That's how Judas did it when he gave Christ over to the Roman soldiers to be, crucified. But it was supposed to go down that way, because Christ had a reason to die for us then, because at that time the law wasn't fulfilled. He had to do it. He had to die. And it had to go down the way it had to go down for our sins. But now Christ don't owe us nothing. We owe it to Christ, because we all got a debt to pay to Christ, not to man, but to Christ. And Christ already going to handle it. To offend and to mock God. I'm not calling those people the devil. You think the devil care about your soul? All he going to try to do is, well, we're going to do it like this. We're going to give you some money to keep you, make you feel better. We won't do it again. Da 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 da. But the lesbian, the transgender community, we don't want da 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 da. They want to sell out somebody. Keep them quiet. Keep you quiet. Don't talk about it no more. We're going to forget about it. We apologize. I don't want your apology, because what you did was what you meant to do, because that's what you wanted. You wanted to get you wanted our attention, to draw it to you. They knew what they were doing. They wasn't like babies. These are grown, full-grown, fat men, fat women, whatever, and full adults. I mean, they just had a whole whatever, and then they had this other thing with the horse and all that coming out with the wind, and they did this stuff in a performance in concerts and everything with some of the people that just sell their souls to Satan. Satan don't care about your soul. And I'm not. I was like, look, when I was, because I went on some people's platforms and channels or whatever like that to hear what they were talking about this Olympics thing. And when I saw it, I was what? Ooh, you offended Christ? Like, ooh, Lord, the Christian community is roasting them, saying all kind. I mean, some are like not saying anything, of course, And if those are not saying anything and offended by it, then now you know who they are and who they truly want to be friends with. They don't have stepping Christians. You know what I'm saying? And you're going. I mean, they out there like that. That's why I got to be careful about who I worship and where I go to worship at. And that's why I say, just like with the politics going on, who's going to be running this world over here? Who's going to be running this world over here? I mean, this world that I know that way I live at. Who's going to be? Not running it, but who's going to be our leader? Who's leading him? I got to know who's leading him. And if he ain't connected with the Spirit of Christ, I can't follow. And if she's not connected with the Spirit of Christ, I cannot follow in this nation. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Okay? So we went into the book, and I'm going to go to Judges, because I got people coming over later on. I got to get this place together. Judges 4, chapter 5. Okay, let's go here. I'm reading from the King James Version. Not the King James Version. I'm reading from the Judges from the NIV. It says, again, the Israelite did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Now that Ehud was dead, so the Lord sold them into the hands of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor. Sisera, the commander of his army, was based in Horoseth. I don't know how to pronounce it. Haggoyim, because he had 900 chariots fitted with iron and had cruelly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. They cried to the Lord for help, like we crying out here now for the Lord for help because of what we're suffering as God's people. And the same thing with the Israelites. Israel over there. Now, Deborah, a prophet, the wife of Lipithoth, was leading. She was the wife of Lipithoth, was leading Israel at the time. She held court under the Lipithoth, who was leading. You see, her husband was leading. That was her husband because she was a prophetess. So she had a husband. Israel at the time, she held court under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim. And the Israelites went up to her to have their disputes decided. She sent for Barak, son of Abinadab, from Kadesh in Naphtali, and said to him, the Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead them up to Mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands. Barak said to her, if you go with me, I will go, but if you don't go with me, I won't go. Certainly I will go with you, said Deborah, but because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman. So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. There Barak summoned Zebulun and Naphtali, and 10,000 men went up under his command. Deborah also, notice she did not step out of line with God. She had to make sure it was okay with the Lord that she was able to go with him, and also that she was going to be able to get because you letting the woman lead you. You see what I'm saying? So whatever's going to happen over a man, because a man not supposed to allow the woman to lead him. She is to follow him, but she's also supposed to help guide him in some kind of way, like she got to have some wisdom, but everything comes from God because God, of course, Christ, man, then woman, and the children. Okay, now, Heber the Kenite had left to the other Kenites. It says the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Kenites, the descendants of Hobab, Both got to be in agreement, brother-in-law, and pitched his tent by the great tree in Zanan near Kadesh. When they told Sisera and Barak, son of Abinah, had gone up to Mount Tabor, Sisera summoned from the Deborah said to Barak, go, this is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has not the Lord gone ahead of you? Meaning that God is going to meet you there to fight with your enemies. So I read from the book of Judges. You could go there for yourself, read it, ask God for discernment so you can understand the scriptures. But I'm giving you from what the Lord is telling me. And I know God is telling me not to follow the lefties, that woman. Because that is not a woman of God. She was not put there by God. She was put there by man. And look at the man who was the man that put her there. And what was he following? A man that had at the White House on the day of the resurrection of the Lord, a transgender visualability day or whatever it was at the White House on Easter Sunday around children and everything. And for some reason, Joe Biden's spirit is very perverted. I was watching a video that some men that don't look like me, or if you color of skin, white men, whatever, and I live right here in his state. Something about Joe Biden and children, that he seemed to have a fetish for little girls. And if you notice, there's been a whole lot of perversion in the spirit in our nation, in this country. I was looking at the video on a platform, and I wish I would have saved it so I could have played it for y'all and show y'all. And I think the little girl was at some kind of like a little award sermon, and it was some kind of whatever. And I could tell in the child's face, the child was feeling some kind of way, like kind of like, she didn't feel a good feeling about Joe was kissing on her, and the little girl kept moving away and sort of kind of moving away. And then she went to sit down. And when he went to sit down and she was sitting there, and Joe came over to the little girl, and he says to the little girl, he goes, well, how old are you? Are you 17? She says, no, I'm only, how old? She said she was 7 or something like that, a very young child. And I was like, she was very young. She probably said she was 9. I don't know. When I saw that part, I was like, I always felt he was kind of, predatorial. You know what I'm saying? That he was a predator. And he had a fetish for, minors in a way. I'm just saying, like, ever since his leadership, I've seen a whole lot of nasty, ugly things coming out in people's spirit. And whoever's leading you, and then, when I listen to Trump talk, Trump is kind of like disgusted with him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see that with Trump around his grandchildren or around any of his children. And I think that, Trump is like a pop, and his granddaughter came to speak at. He's like a grandfather, and he loves, he's about business and everything. And it's funny, his wife raised his own child, his youngest child, and all his family was there to support him. His first wife, Ivanka, with the children he had with Ivanka and their children and their grandchildren, and they all seem to be like getting along pretty well. And even though people have their problems in families, everybody got their problems in family, but they seem to they covered it up really well. Like they really did a good job of covering up whatever differences or problems they might be having in that family with Trump being out here. And I'm sure they're concerned about his life and his safety and everything else like that. His wife and his children and stuff. But I know he has a praying family, and I know that he loves God. I mean, he have a connection to God. I ain't going to say that he's always good with God, because when we're not doing right with God, of course, he take that left hand and correct us. You know what I'm saying? Is he going to hit you with that left hand? So, to correct you. So there's been some things in his life, that he done some bad things, and he got whipped with the father's hand. So when he stepped out of line with some people or whatever like that. I'm not saying he's perfect, because really, truly, the thing is that we have to stay obedient to the word of God. We have to allow God to direct our path, and we got to sometimes, we don't just follow anything out there without really being. And I truly believe God took me from that other job that I left, because I left. I wasn't going to stay there and allow myself to be disrespected like that. I left. I left on my own. I didn't want to have to leave the children, but I had to do what I had to do, because I couldn't function well with them kids, and I had to deal with this wicked woman I was working there with, and she was my boss. No, I couldn't do that no more. I was like, no, for the kids' sake, I had to move out that door. So that's what I had to do. And then the day that I walked out there, I walked right into another place and it was right there. They were ready for me. It was like they was ready for me. And I got to be ready and prepared for them for tomorrow. So I'm not going to stay here too long, longer with y'all. I'm going to try to straighten up a little bit, get things, around the house, whatever, cleaned up a little, get some of this messy paperwork. I got paper all over the place. But I just wanted to come out here and share that with somebody, since they told me about Deborah. But even though it could be a woman that can lead in certain things, but certain things over the man, you got to watch what kind of woman you put over your men in the military and in this, in the church. And of course, God already said in woman, man is the head anyway. But I'm just saying, some woman just a little bit out of line. And this woman here, she's out of line. Kamala, I'm sorry, she's way left, but they letting her have her honeymoon and her sugar high and out there voting to be president and all this, and all this stuff is just written down. So when it happens to everybody that's going to follow her, they're gonna be like, whoop. And I said, and even if she do get elected, she ain't gonna think nothing about your votes. She gonna be being Kamala, and you're gonna be mad, and you're gonna be burning. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be burning as these females. Oh, I can't wait to see this woman. Ain't no woman leading me. I'm sorry. I'm not following no female, and it is what it is. And just like some men, I'm not following no men either. But if I am gonna follow a female, she got to be lined up with the word of God for me to follow. She got to be a woman of God and called to do this, because Deborah was called to God as a prophet. She was called by God to do this because she had that connection with God. I'm not following no woman that don't got no boundaries. Are you crazy? This woman is so all that stupid laughing, and then the way she got there, her reputation. And you think that's the woman I'm going to follow? Sleeping around with men that are married? She's an opportunist. She's a Jezebel. She's Jezebel. She's not a woman of God. And when you're not a woman of God, you have no boundaries. You have no boundaries. And you have to be careful what kind of woman you follow. I'm not following Jezebel. Wicked. She's stepping out of line. Because before Joe even said it to the public, and I mean, look at his condition. And she knew the man was in a bad condition. She knew the man had some cognitive declining, age, whatever situation going on. They knew about his health declining like that from the time he was in the for what, a year after he was in presidency. And you mean to tell me they couldn't say, no, don't run for a second term of presidency? We need to start, just tell the people you ain't gonna run, and all these people and everything. Now they're trying to cover it up and just put her in there and let her go, and then make this letter up and everything. And of course, Jill Biden was very disappointed and disgusted by what they did, and he is, she been raging about it. But right now with their son Hunter and all of this stuff going on, and it's just a whole lot going on with that family in this situation right now. So, and plus with her husband's health like that, she's not too much in the public talking or whatever. This is probably because her children. Because you looked at that family photo, they all sitting there, they all looked all sad, and when Joe went there to talk at the interview, he did. I mean, not talk at the interview, but when he was there to talk to meet with that Benjamin with Nahahim Natanyami Natanyo Netanyahu, how the family was looking. They didn't look like they were happy. They looked sad. They looked depressed. They looked drained. They looked tired. And of course, you're gonna look, but they was showing no. It just seemed weird, even though they were in, they were sad and hurt, and then seeing Joe in his condition, it still seemed kind of like there was something going on in that family. You could just see it, and it was just not good. And then he's sitting there. He didn't even have his wedding band. I didn't see his wedding. Well, I don't wear mine either, but all the time. But I do wear it, but just not like I should, because I mean I ain't got no kids, and I ain't out there on the market anyway. So I know marriage is truly in the heart. Your hearts being joined together in matrimony. And when I say it's legal, but it's matrimony in your heart and everything. The ring is there to keep, your, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, you have to really understand that it's just, if it ain't a spirit of God, don't follow it. And that spirit is not a spirit of God to me. And this is why I'm having that conversation out there with you, over here with you, because a lot of people following things, and I do this even during the R. Kelly stuff. People's spirit wasn't connecting with me, and I was like, no, these people ain't, something ain't right about this. And every time I made that judgment, it was right. They had no connection to God. Even when I saw people up here talking the way they were talking and doing the things they were doing, I was like, that is not of God, and I won't be a part of it. I won't take no fellowship with it at all. Even when I did try to take fellowship, God slapped me back, slapped me. You know what I'm saying? Had to correct me. I got into some battles with them, that spirit. And I was like, I ain't going over there no more. I ain't going over there no more. With those people, mm-mm. And notice I have not been on nobody's platform, because I didn't want that stuff in my. And I keep telling you, you got to be careful who you follow. I've been staying lately over here on my platform. And I go move around and I go to some platforms, but most of the platforms I do go to, I got to make sure that these people are right with God, or they have a connection to the Lord, or they Christian. I do a lot of more Christians, and I watch the news too. And it's so funny because it's a lot, like even with listening to, like I said, with the Trump rallies and everything, even though there's more people that don't look like me over there, but I can feel the spirit of God moving in that place. I know there's probably some over there, they got some bad people over there, probably got racism and hatred and all kind of stuff in their heart against other groups of people, or certain type of people that don't look like them, or even people that look like them. You know what I'm saying? They just got a problem with themselves all together, and they just out there to capture somebody's soul, for saying. So, but the thing is that we know there's infiltrators in every group. They can look like you, but they not you. And just like I said, we can't judge by the color of nobody's skin. And I don't just do this because, Trump got a lot of money. God wants the rich, poor. Doesn't make any difference. White, black, green, purple, whatever. So then the people was talking about, well, Vivek Ramaswamy, the Indian dude that's a Hindi guy and everything, and he wants to be on the team over there with the Republicans, which he is already on the team with the Republicans, but he's an American and he practiced Hindi. And so some people were having the conversation, well, he's a nice guy. And I said, well, if he ain't following Christ, people could be nice and don't have a relationship with the Lord. Look at Kamala. She's a nice, I'm pretty sure to a lot of people, she's a nice person. She's a nice person. I'm sure she probably might be a nice person. But I'm talking about having a relationship with the Lord. Not your serving your God. Hindi ain't got nothing to do with Christ. You see, when you understand what Christ came about, to make that one God that we all supposed to be under, is him. He's ruler, king of all kings. Get what I'm saying here? All these different gods, all these different gods for this and that. God said one God, one. Not no Hindi, not no Muhammad. Okay. One God. And when people say, well, we came here to practice freedom of religion. Yeah, you could practice it, but don't try to force it here on America. You understand what I'm saying? You can practice it in your own faith, in your own belief, and do it all your stuff, just like you want to practice your faith and your lifestyle or whatever. In whatever, you could talk to the brick wall, and that's your God. But don't try to force that religion on Christ and take over the kingdom of Christ. Don't do it that way. We were built because it was the Spirit of the Lord our God that brought us here to the land of the free. And some black people can say, oh, America brought us here as slaves. No, America didn't bring you here as slaves. America didn't bring you here as slaves. You was all over other places and you was used as trade. You was used as trade. Just like they bringing them people over here and open up the borders and bringing them over here, they got your tax dollars to bring those illegals over to America. You was used. It's just like right now the name now is called sex trafficking. Sex trafficking, sex marketing, trade, whatever. Election time coming, they need some citizens over here to vote for the election. And these are the things they are, I would say, importing. They are importing a market of people to come in, work for nothing, maybe, give them food stamps, give them this, give them that, and control them the way they want to control them, and have them come in this system and vote for you and put them in the ghettos, in the neighborhoods, wipe you out, get you out of the way, get it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you see, some people just say woke. They not woke Christians. They could be woke, but then they don't know why they moving over this side. But if you're not woke, you got to be with Christ. Christ is pulling them over there. You know, Christ is trying to pull you out of that fire, out of that mess, because that's what they're doing over there on the left-hand side. They're going to be working. That's why they want to give them your jobs and make them pay. The Mexicans, the people from all the dread jails, the Muslims, give them opportunities, give them a bank card, give them a loan, open a store in your neighborhood, come in and just do what they want. I mean, really. So that's why I say you got to have spiritual discernment and you have to have that connection with God, because the devil knows how to play on you. We all need money, and we all need, but to be able to control, your money and your finances or whatever like that, you have to take control. That's why I was listening to Trump and everything. Yeah, you have to know how to use your craft, your skills. God gave us all a craft and a skill. Instead of sitting home and being lazy and getting a welfare check or getting Medicaid by the government, so they can tell and they could be in your business and everything else like that, putting your children in child care centers and then depending on them to put your children in child care because they're going to pay for it and you're going to give your children the education they want to offer to your children. But when you have worked and everything else like that, you get to pay for the education for your children, certain things you ain't going to tolerate. You understand what I'm saying? And you have that control over your children. But when you don't, you know what I'm saying? You probably may even homeschool your own kids and still work at home. Have your business and work at home and monitor and watch and educate your own children. There's a whole lot of people doing that don't want their kids in the public schools with the government. And what they got, and they got who they got educators over your children. But when you got that kind of money, see, I don't got to worry about it because I only got to go there to work. You know what I'm saying? They don't like me. They don't like my way of how I do things. And I'm a Christian. I'm not going to denounce it. I'm not going to denounce Christ. And if that's what they want to do, I'm just going to move along, move along, move along, move along. You know what I'm saying? Because Christ always opens up opportunities to me to go somewhere else. Because see, you got to work because they your kids. Get what I'm saying? People like me don't got to worry about what my child is being taught. But you got to worry about what your child is going to go to school. And especially when you got to go to work and put them in childcare and you need your, government to help you with what they call again that they give the parents out here that put their kids in. They purchase of care. Your POC, your purchase of care for your children for a certain amount of hours to be in childcare while you go to work. And they give you your child's income tax, whatever. Your what they call that tax thing they give people to get children, because I don't get all of that. You know what I'm saying? I always have to owe the government. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't got a child or nothing. I'm like, well, I gotta pay for this. I'm already out there working and paying taxes. So why I'm paying for these people, kids? It's not fair to people like me. I shouldn't be responsible to work, taking care of your kids in that kind of order. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, Frankie? Me either. I walked away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go to work, I'm paying taxes, and at the end of the year, I got to child tax or some whatever that just look at your taxes that you paying that they hitting your paycheck for to take care of illegals and to take care of people with all these kids and they getting PPO, welfare, food stamps, Medicaid, whatever. And Trump is talking about this wicked government this kind of wickedness in the government got to stop. People that go to work shouldn't have to be paying for the people that work and use people that run their own business and they working for themselves or whatever. They shouldn't have to give the government half it all. They be all up in their business like that. And especially the way they have to, especially people like myself who's being abused by the government like that. Because I always got to pay taxes. I don't get no tax refund. Okay? These people got their kids' names and everything on these refunds, and they get in big checks. And some people, and that's why a lot of people don't want to move nowhere, because they're comfortable with that. They're complacent. They like that lifestyle of free, this from the government, free. Anything that's coming to you from the government ain't free. You don't have your freedom. You don't have your freedom. But when it comes from you, you get to control it the way you want to control it. Get what I'm saying? And we all slaves are under Jesus Christ. We all owe him a debt. So what you put out is what you get back in return. So anyway, y'all, I got to get up on it. I got to get going because these people will be in my house. I don't really want no company right now, but I love you. God bless you. And think about what I'm saying. I came from the book of Judges, chapter 4. You can read that whole chapter if you like. And I also did another video earlier on the book of Zephaniah. You can go and read that book if you like. You can also go to Matthew's 21. Matthew's 21. I got so much that I wrote it down all over the place, but I can't go look for it for y'all right now. But if God's willing, I'll be back with y'all maybe sometime next week, but I doubt if I'll be back again tonight. I doubt it very, very much with you. So you all be blessed and think about what I'm saying. Get closer to God. Get to know him. Before you make any decision to cast your vote to anybody out there, know who you following. Know who you want to be the leader over your government, over this government. To God be the glory. Love you and peace. Wait, how do I get out of here? Is there a way I get out of here? Oh, God bless.